Hello, everyone, and welcome along to the F1 show as we head into the final round of the the final two rounds of the Formula One season. And we have two races left, both in the Middle East. One in Jeddah this weekend and one in Abu Dhabi the weekend after. It has every reason to be a great end to what has been a fantastic season. And of course, we'll take you through all of the build up to the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix in Jeddah in the next 20 minutes. So, what has been going on in the week? The question was the track going to be ready in time? It is ready, and it's been tested by the high-speed track test from the Aston Martin safety car that is in Jeddah this weekend. The drivers have spoken about how they've practiced so much using the circuit on the simulator. It looks like it's going to provide a great challenge. The walls are never too far away, as it's a street circuit as well. So expect lots of crashes, lots of action. And if you go off at this place, it's going to be a painful one as well, because it's high speed for most of the lap, other than that turn 1 or 2 section. And obviously in this F1 show, we'd like to send our best wishes to the Williams family, obviously after the sad news that on Sunday that Frank Williams had passed away. We did dedicate a special F1 show to Frank on Sunday night. You can go and watch that if you wish to right now. Well, after you've watched this, of course, on the on our YouTube page, so you can see it. It was a lovely show, and it was one of those we didn't enjoy doing, but we felt respectful that we had to do it. And it was a lovely show for a lovely person as well. And I'm sure those tributes will be pouring in for Sir Frank across the weekend. And I believe we might have a minute silence on the grid on Sunday, which, by the way, our live timings for this weekend, 4:55 YouTube, lights out 5:30, and we'll take you through all of the laps that are going to be coming at us. I haven't quite checked how many laps it's going to be, but I believe it's going to be around 60 laps, 61, something like that. Around that area. So then, Max Verstappen can win the title this weekend if he outscores Lewis Hamilton by 18 points. And how he can do that is by pretty much only winning the race, unless he comes second with fastest lap and Lewis Hamilton doesn't finish. So basically, if Max wants to be champion this weekend, he has to finish in top spot with Lewis not scoring, which the chances of it happening are quite low. I mean, I don't want to jinx it, but I really want this to go to the final round. I'm sure many of you out there do as well. It's been a fantastic season, and I'm sure we're going to be in for a gripping finale, gripping final two races. And if Hamilton wins, obviously he could go into Abu Dhabi in the lead of the championship, which I don't think we'd have said that a few races ago. But also, Mercedes will very much need Hamilton's wingman and his teammate Valtteri Bottas alongside him. George Russell, speaking of George Russell and teammate Lewis Hamilton, has said that he's really looking forward to having George as a teammate next year, and that he's really looking forward to getting to work with George, and that he wants him to be the next British F1 world champion once he leaves. I'm sure Lewis Hamilton speaking for all of us now. I'm sure we all want George Russell to be a future F1 world champion one day. You know, George Russell, Max Verstappen, that could be the next pairing. That could be the next Hamilton Verstappen, couldn't it? And Team GB, I'm sure, will be going nice and strong next year out on the circuit. Obviously, George Russell will be Lewis Hamilton's teammate for at least 2 years. But after those 2 years, at the end of the 2023 season, will Lewis Hamilton say his day is done in Formula One? He might well do, if by that point he's broken the record of Michael Schumacher's, which he could obviously do. that record, when we do this F1 show in 2 weeks' time for the final time of the year, could well be broken. Or the record for the youngest ever Formula One world champion could also be broken. So, whatever way a record is going to be broken, a good record, a great record is going to be broken at the end of this Formula One season. Which one will it be? I have no idea. Genuinely, I've watched F1 all my life, and I don't think I've seen a title fight quite like this. And I don't think we're going to get, well, this is one for the ages, isn't it? Will we get another one next year? I so much hope so, because I've loved every single lap, every single minute of every single session of this F1 season. I'm sure you all have, even the practices have been good this year. I genuinely cannot pick one race that I said, yeah, that was boring. I genuinely cannot do it this year. Normally I can. Russia last year, I didn't really enjoy it. I thought it was a bit rubbish, to be honest. But this year, I genuinely cannot pick one. That is how good it's been, how tight it's been. Every single race has had its own twist to the towel. Obviously, the big ones being Silverstone and Monza. They're the ones that stand out. And I hope we get to see a bit of argy-bargy, in Saudi Arabia between the two title contenders. But another question for Saudi, overtaking. Is it an overtaking track? I don't know. There's 3 DRS zones, so it's potential for overtaking, isn't there? I think that the home straight, turn 1 and 2 will be the main point. I don't think you'll be able to overtake in the second DRS zone. I really don't. That's a fast flowing section of track. If you can overtake there, you've really got to have your brave boots on. You could probably overtake into the final corner if you decide to dive late enough and the other guy decides to respect that you're there. Then I think that move could work. Otherwise, you'll both be ending up in that outside barrier. So I think you can overtake. Bank turn 10. Potentially you could throw a move up the inside there or around the outside, carry the speed. In an F1 car, into that on board with the safety car that we saw earlier, the safety car didn't run that close to the wall. Those F1 cars, they will be centimeters, millimeters away from that wall. They would get as close as they possibly can without touching it. And I'm sure at some point we're going to see someone ended in the barriers throughout the race. There probably will be safety cars. There might even be red flags. It's got everything that we want for an end of season Formula One Grand Prix. Well, not quite end of season, penultimate round to the season F1 Grand Prix. When was the last time F1 went to the wire? It was actually 2016. It went to Abu Dhabi. I think it will be going to Abu Dhabi very much this year. And that's what you want, the title fight to go down to the line. That last lap, the last lap of the season is when you want the title to very, very much be decided. And looking further down the field then, I'm going to try and see if I can get you the championship lineup or the championship standings, maybe. So standings, Max Verstappen is first on 351.5 points. Then Lewis Hamilton comes in second, 343.5 points. Valtteri Bottas comes in third, 203 points, a long way behind. Sergio Perez in fourth, 190 points. Lando Norris fifth, 153 points. Charles Leclerc sixth, 152 points, just 1 point behind. Carlos Sainz seventh, 145.5 points. Daniel Ricciardo, 105 points. Pierre Gasly, 9th, 92 points. Fernando Alonso, 10th, 77 points. Esteban Ocon, 11th, 60 points. Sebastian Vettel, 12th, 43 points. Lance Stroll, 13th, 34 points. Yuki Tsunoda, 14th, 20 points. George Russell, 15th, 16 points. Kimi Raikkonen, 16th, 10 points. Nicholas Latifi, 17th, 7 points. Antonio Giovinazzi, 18th, 1 point. Both Haas drivers and Robert Kubica are on 0 points. So Robert Kubica, who's raced who only raced what? Is it one? Was it one race? Yeah, one race. No, two races. Yeah, is on the same amount of points as both Haas drivers, which is zero, and they've raced 20 races by now. So that just shows how poor that Haas car has been this year. And I genuinely do think it's been a very, very tough year for Haas. And but also, I do think they've kind of stopped development, haven't they, on that 2021 car? And they are very much focusing it on the 2022 car, that new spec of car now. And I do understand why, because I think the 2022 car is where most teams are aiming for now. Maybe other than the big teams, they're still working on this 2021 car because obviously there's a title to be won here, a world constructors title or a world drivers title. But I do think for those lower teams down, the teams like Williams, Haas, Aston Martin, AlphaTauri, I can completely understand why they are working on that 2022 car. Alpine, who have had a decent season, I will admit they have had a very good season with that win in Hungary. Fernando getting the podium last time out. Great effort from him in Qatar. And by the way, good race in Qatar from everyone. I thought decent, good strategy. Tire blowouts, Pirelli, you have to sort that for next season. Tire blowouts, they've been happening a lot this year. It's unacceptable and it's dangerous to the sport, to the other drivers, to the competitors, to the fans at the circuit. That is one thing that needs to be sorted out for next year. Not to have these tire blowouts. It did happen in Baku. That's obviously the main ones. They were the more consequent. They had more consequences than the ones in Qatar. Not saying they didn't in Qatar, but obviously, Baku, it resulted in DNFs and it resulted in big crashes for Lance Stroll and Max Verstappen. Lance Stroll obviously being slightly the bigger one, but if Max had gone the other way and into the end of that pit wall, oh dear, that would have been a very, very nasty accident. And no one would have wanted to see that. Trust me, that would have been horrendous if that had happened. Thankfully, it didn't. It would have happened if Max tried to correct it. He just accepted it was going to go to the barriers, whatever happened. So he just had to take his hands off the steering wheel and brace for the impact, which it would have been. Even though the energy was dissipated, it still would have been a very big impact. So, yeah, Pirelli, this is my message to you. You have to sort those tyre blowouts out for next year. They've been unacceptable this year. And whether you say it's the tyre carcass going, whether it's the lifespan of the tyre, whether it's just the tyre giving up, it has to be looked at. It has to be sorted out for next year over the winter because we can't have it. Eventually, a driver will get seriously injured with this keep happening. But anyway, away from the tyre blowouts now and back to the F1 action. As I said, we head to Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, and there's been lots of talk in the paddock today, and Lewis Hamilton making the biggest talk of it, but Sebastian Vettel also wearing the rainbow helmet all season long from the German driver. Great gesture. Obviously, Lewis has picked it up towards the end of the season, but that doesn't discount the work that Sebastian Vettel's been doing. He's been a gem, really, in Formula One ever since he's arrived now. I think everyone loves a bit of Sebastian Vettel. But yeah, LGBTQ plus human rights, obviously they remain the number one priority. And I don't know why exactly we chose Saudi Arabia, to be honest, other than for the cash, because human rights is a massive issue in Saudi. And I don't want the F1 show to be based around human rights, to be honest, but I feel in Saudi is something that we have to talk about because human rights, they're not everywhere. They're here where I live in London. And where I live in London, we're very privileged to have human rights, equality, no matter what race you are, no matter what disabilities you have, you are regarded as normal. But you could go to somewhere and you could be regarded as not normal, which isn't right. It's not right at all. And I think as F1, we have to use that platform that we have across the world to make human rights a bigger issue. Not issue, a bigger awareness. And if we can do that, then I believe Formula One has made big strides in making this world a fairer place. Just like we have to drive for a better future in terms of environment. We have to drive for a better future in terms of human rights, in terms of those issues that are taking place in the world right now. And I think as Formula One, we have the best platform to possibly do that. No, F1 hybrid, F1, no, Wii Racers One. The Wii Racers One project was launched last year in the response to the Black Lives Matter protest. Let's continue it. It was bigger last year. It's dropped off this year. Why has it dropped off? Because Formula One hasn't pursued it like they did last year. I think they should very much pursue it this year and very much make it a bigger thing going into 2022 that we run the Wii Racers One gesture on every F1 car, because I really do think that as Formula One, we can make lives better for those who are suffering and those who are getting abuse and those who are getting racist comments, those who are getting homophobic comments, those who are getting abused because of their gender. I genuinely do think we have every single right as Formula One to stop the people who are abusing other people because of their race, their disabilities, their agenda. I genuinely think F1 can do that. And I think we as F1 fans have to help F1 pursue it. We have to support F1 and we have to encourage them to do it. We have to encourage Liberty Media to do it. We have to use our voices in this scenario. But anyway, away from that issue now. Final couple of minutes, I'm going to talk about F1. They've been testing in Valencia this week. And I had the final day of testing this week. Today, actually. But the DS Cheetah, it looks quick, doesn't it? Sam Bird looks quick. New sound for Formula E, new cars for Formula E. It's looking good for the 2022 FE season, which starts in Saudi Arabia as well, actually, in Adiria in a couple of weeks' time. Well, just over a month's time in January, just after the Christmas break. Obviously, we're in the festive period now, so get those Christmas trees up, get those Christmas songs banging, and have a very, very Merry Christmas. Obviously, we are going to see it before. Of course, we are. Tell you for timing Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, I did tell you, but I'll remind you again, 4:55 YouTube, build up, 5:30, lights out in Jeddah for the first time. And the Jeddah Cornish circuit will all be ready to go. Fingers crossed. I think it's all ready now anyway, so we got nothing to worry about that. Floodlights, F1 cars, a title fight like no other. What could possibly go wrong in Jeddah? Well, here's a few things. Those walls are ridiculously close to the circuit. It's a street track. It's fast. It's flowing. It's 27 corners. One mistake and you've got a sizable accident, which hopefully we will not see, because if we do see it, it will be horrendous to watch. But yeah, fingers crossed. Each driver can keep it on the track and we can have a good battle, good race, good fights across the field, lots of overtaking, and a race to remember in Saudi Arabia, because every other one this season has been a race to remember. This has been a season to remember, and it's going down to the wire. We've got Saudi, we've got Abu Dhabi. Which one? Well, Abu Dhabi is going to decide the championship. Who will it be? Max Verstappen or Lewis Hamilton? Will it be the youngest ever F1 world champion? Or will it be the record broken for the 8th time? Well, for the 8th time world champion. We will start that leg, the final stint of the F1 season, on Sunday at 4:55 when F1 returns.